Today I wanted to come on and review a new study from Lifeway that I have been starting to work through here in the last couple days. This is Isaiah, and this study is by Melissa Spolstra. I apologize if I butchered her name there. So this is focusing on the book of Isaiah, striving less and trusting God more. It is a 7-session Bible study. And what I do love about some of these newer Lifeway studies, you get the video access. So the author of these studies makes videos, usually one per week. So there'll be seven videos to go with this one. And normally you would have to pay an extra fee to have access to those videos. But now I've noticed in some of these newer studies that Lifeway has started including an access code that you can access those videos without having to pay extra. So I love that about these new studies, because I mean, it wasn't a lot. I think it was like $3 or so per video, depending on the study and the author. But still, that adds up, you know, if you're buying for every week there. So that's really nice to have that access. So again, this is a 7-session study. So we're going to have session 1, introducing Isaiah. Then we have trust God's character, trust God's calendar, trust God's comfort, trust God's commands, trust God's correction, and trust God's coming. And then at the end, we're going to have a read through Isaiah, how to become a Christian, end notes, and then video viewer guide answers. So we start out with a little more information about the author. I know Melissa has written several other studies that I've done. I've done her study on Romans. And now I'm drawing a blank. Jeremiah, I did that one. There's a couple others too, but I know I definitely did those two. So at the beginning of session 1, we're going to have a little introduction to Isaiah. And then it's going to give you some options for study. So there's 5 days of content in the study book for you to do. You can also watch the videos. You can also memorize weekly Bible verses, meet with a small group and answer the discussion questions. So there's several different options for you. I am currently doing this one on my own. I'm not meeting with a small group, at least not yet. You get a note for group leaders here. And then this is the video viewer guide. So I didn't actually write in this book yet. I'm recording my answers in a journal right now because I wasn't sure if I was going to pass this on to someone else, and I don't like to write in it if I'm going to do that. So far I have not written actually in this book. I've just been using a notebook. So you're going to have fill in the blanks to go along with the videos. And like I said, I love that the videos are now included with the study. The first video is about 23 minutes long. You also get a group discussion guide. So if you are going through this with a small group, it gives you some prompts for the leader. It gives you like kind of a layout of how you can run your small group study. So you can have a time. This specifically says like a time of sharing. You watch the video. It gives you 2 discussion questions about the video. And then it gives you 3 discussion questions about the study. And then just kind of a review of what they're going to do for the week. And then a prayer prompt to close out. Okay, so then starting out here, these are what each day will look like. So day 1 is called Passionate Commitment. Your scripture focus is Isaiah 1. You have a big idea of we can trust God because he is passionately committed to us. And then you have your content here. So there's spaces to fill in answers right in the book. And each session is roughly 5 pages. So then day 2 is called Holy and Higher. Our scripture focus that day is going to be Isaiah 6. And then again, same format. There is commentary from the author, and then there's questions with spaces for you to fill in your answers. There's a chart for you to fill in on this day. And so if you're doing this with a small group, you would fill out these 5 days of content at home, and then you would come back at the end of the week or whenever you're meeting with your group to kind of discuss what you read and reviewed during the week, and then watch that video session with your group as well. Okay, so then we're just about through the week here. Okay, and at the end of each week then you're going to get your next video viewer guide to watch your video either on your own or with your small group. And then same layout for your group meeting. There's a sharing question to go through and just kind of like an icebreaker with your group. You watch the video. The second one's about 25 minutes. They tend to be like 20, 25 minutes long for the videos. And then go over your memory verse with the group if you're doing that. You'll watch the video and have 2 questions about that. There's 5 study discussion questions about the content that you did at home that week, a review of what you're going to do the next week, and then a time of prayer. So that's the basic layout for this study. I was really excited to get into this one because the book of Isaiah is one that I haven't studied and read as much as I would like to, so I'm excited to be working through that. It's also a really long book. I think it's like 66 chapters, so it can feel a little overwhelming at first when you look at it and you're like, oh wow, this is a lot. And it's not like, I don't want to say it's hard to read it, but it's not as easy as some of the other books of the Bible are to read, like maybe the Gospels or the book of Ruth or Genesis or something. It's more of like a story narrative format, so it can be a little tricky, a little tough to understand, but it's so worth it. And it's amazing to me how in the book of Isaiah there is so much about Jesus there, and it was written hundreds of years before his birth, and it's spot on. So definitely I would recommend this study. Take a look at the book of Isaiah. Even if you don't have this study, read through the book of Isaiah using like your study Bible or something, because it's a really amazing book. I am using my Life Application Study Bible so far. I'm sure I'll use others as well. I tend to jump around with my Bibles and like to have some variety, but for now I'm using my Life Application Study Bible to go through this study, and it's been really helpful as I work through the book of Isaiah. So again, highly recommend this study, Isaiah, Melissa Spolstra. This is from Lifeway, and pull out a study Bible to go with it. And even if you don't have this book, I would recommend checking out the book of Isaiah anyway, because it's definitely a great, amazing read.